You know, one of the questions I ask my guests when they come here, because not many people show up to Single Sunday, because of the nature of this place, because of the crazy nature of this place. I always ask them, I say, you know, did you find it difficult to find the spot?
No, it's not difficult. It's just the traffic.
Uh-huh. Did you, and now have you been here before? Before today?
No, this is the first time I'm coming to the North, and I've been around City Market and whatnot. So I know the place very well.
All right. I think your hair, is that your hair? It's rubbing against the mic, yeah.
Yep.
Guys, I was going to say TikTok. I was going to Facebook. Facebook, hi guys, how are you? I hope you guys are well. Please tell me in the comments below if you guys can hear us loud and clear. I was telling Juliet that we are very unconventional here at Simoson.
And she said, it's okay.
And you said you like that. You love unconventionality. Thank you for
makes life easier.
Absolutely.
But we shouldn't be unconventional all the time.
Not all the time. Not all the time.
Sometimes it's allowed.
Uh-huh. Wonderful. So there we go. I think we're fine. So hey guys, thank you for being with us. I'm with Juliet. Your last name. You say your last name.
Juliet Nangamba.
Nangamba.
Nangamba. Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's do it like this here. There we go. So Juliet, you are on a campaign. First of all, tell us about My Food is African. Tell us about the inspiration behind this campaign that you've embarked upon, that you want people to eat more African food, Zambian food. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so my name is Juliet Nangamba. To introduce myself again, I work for an organization called CTDC, Community Technology Development Trust in Zambia. And CTDC is a part of a network organization, which is the Zambia Alliance for Agroecology and Biodiversity. That is also a part of a continental alliance after. So we actually saw that many people are very detached from the way food is produced. Some of us just see the food in the supermarket or on the market being sold, but we don't really know what goes on into the production of food. So, and last year, was it last year? Yeah, Zambia held the AU Summit on Nutrition, and we thought, oh, I think it's a good time to raise more sensitization to people around how food is produced, where the food is coming from, how the narrative of food is shaped. So this birthed the campaign, My Food is African, just to inspire people to eat more of their traditional food, to value more and demand more of African cuisine.
Tell me about how much does the media play in sort of, I don't want to use the word brainwashed, but in terms of convincing the public that this Western food that we're exposed to, the pizzas, the calzones, how much of what role do you think the media plays in sort of shaping the minds and attitudes towards our traditional food?
I think a lot of people now feel like everything that they see on the media, advertised properly, packaged, well, packaging and branding is very good for them, but sometimes it's very detrimental, because now what the media has really done is to shift the narrative around food to very few kind of things that people can eat, maybe T-bone and chips or chicken and chips, and forgetting about every other, healthy way of consuming food, but is, forgetting about the culture that is associated to food is all forgotten, but then we only focus on very, very narrow range of food.
What role do you think we should play as, people that are in charge of home, people that, that run their homes? What role do you think we should play in terms of fostering this idea of the importance of consuming our local foods?
So for the campaign, our target actually is everyone, the consumers, the producers, the policymakers, people in the media, because we can't leave the issue around food to very few people. That is very dangerous. Food has now become a weapon, so we all need to play our common but differentiated roles. The media should take interest in what African food is, African cuisine, and portray the culture that is aligned to food, portray the nutrition that is aligned to traditional food, and how appropriate our African food is and how healthy it is. Our politicians need to make policies that actually address, food policies that address health and nutrition for the nation. Imagine if I think we're all moving there. We are all malnourished. What kind of a citizen we have? What kind of a nation would we have? So we have to play our roles. That we have a common goal to ensure that we access a good nutrition, we eat nutritious food, and we, foster the consumption of these locally available foods.
You said that food is a weapon.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
So the landscape of food now is that it is controlled by very few people. That's why in Zambia, if there's, I'll give an example of the country, not to get too political. Maize. If there's an issue with maize, then it becomes a very big problem. Why is that? Because there's been a system of narrowing of what food is, such that it's now more political and it's owned by very few corporate companies, which are not even Zambian to start with. So first, the companies that are, at the helm of our food system are not supporting us economically. Everything that they make, the profit and everything you can think of, the money that comes in goes out, it shifts away. What we get the most is maybe just the people that work there and maybe even just the processing. I think we can benefit more if we foster building our local economy. Another example that comes to mind is an example of Russia. Russia has an issue also around GMOs. If you give more control to people that own technologies of GMOs, then you are actually saying, oh, no matter how much you say that you're independent and whatnot, if you cannot make a decision on what kind of food you're going to eat, then you cannot be independent. This is where Russia has said, okay, we'll not grow GMOs because we don't want to be controlled. We don't have the technology, but we're going to grow organic food. I think those are the kinds of things that we need to think about. They say he who controls your stomach controls your food, or your stomach controls you ultimately. Yeah. So that's why I say food has come to me for now.
Yes, because when there is a shortage of maize, it's a political issue, and you're right, there is a cartel around that, which we're not going to get into that, but there is. Tell me about, you were talking to me about seed.
Yes.
Tell me about that. What is that, and what does it mean, and what are you trying to accomplish with that?
I think by the time I leave this somewhere, you become a seed expert. And there's a lot of seed around this market.
Really?
Go and start looking for it. Yeah, so it's very, very important to consider how our national seed policy shapes our food system. To begin with, seed is critical and is very primary for production of food. So the type of seed that you grow or support as a country ultimately determines the kind of food that you eat. So
now, when you say seed, you're talking about that thing that I put in the ground.
The seed, the thing that you go and plant, that's imbuto.
Imbuto.
In short.
Yes. Okay.
Imbuto in short, yeah. So when you what type of seed that you have in the country then determines the kind of food that you're going to eat. Now we talk a lot about maize, meal, because the kind of seed that is being supported is maize. And farmers are accessing these seeds through government programs such as seeds and whatnot. But beyond that, we have a wide range of other seeds. And for us, this is where the campaign is very important and why we need policymakers to support this cause. Beyond that, we've got so many other crops that can be grown, but there's less support to these other crops because the focus has been very narrowed. We have a lot of other international platforms, international treaties that support, the development of these other seeds that are not considered as seeds. Um, but and Zambia is also a party to these, treaties, but they are not being implemented because the focus of what can be grown or what can be food has been captured by multinationals. So we need to kind of free ourselves and move away from this kind of thinking. And for us, this is why we are onto this campaign because we want to influence more people to start reconsidering what they can grow as food, reconsidering what they call seeds, so that we have more, diversity in terms of food and access to food and seeds. It's very important to also consider this issue because if you own your own seeds, then you are free. You can produce at your own time. I'll still go back to example of the country. We have times when people have to access the seeds from FISIP. FISIP becomes an issue every year. If there's no FISIP, then people cannot grow food. And the day that FISIP is going to fail, that's the day that the country is going to start because that's the only consideration that you have. But there's more that can happen. And if you give people choice to people, then they can be more free and they can be more sovereign and decide on what kind of other food that they can eat. I was telling you the other time that in our home, our children, Gamawapela, where they build finger village to cook, they won't eat it because they don't know it. They have never seen it. They have never seen the plant. But sometimes we also wait when we get sick, we've got sugar, we've got diabetes, high blood pressure. That's when we want to move back and start thinking, oh, now I need to start eating shima with finger millet or shima with sorghum or whatever. It's better we start early and start embracing, some of this food. Currently, the laws and policies that we have in Zambia, and they are not very restrictive. I can't say they are restrictive, but they do not foster the promotion of anything else apart from what you see in TV. Yeah.
Is there any way to change all this? Because, Juliet, listening to you speak, I get a sense of, I feel like we're helpless as a citizenry. There's nothing we can do. It's almost like we're in this daily grind that, these multinationals are taking advantage of the loopholes that exist in this country. And you and I have no say. We can do nothing to change it. What can we do to change it?
Me and you have a lot of say. It's not that we have no say. I think what we can do to change it, and this is what we're trying to do now, is to mobilize ourselves and organize ourselves. Namaya, demand for your own local, cuisine. In the market, go and buy from the women in the market who sometimes have got these kind of crops of food that we're talking about, so that we expand those markets for those women, and contribute to those local economies. But if you're going all the time, we will not manage to grow this kind of system. I visited Manchichi Garden, by the way.
My mother's
Yes,
restaurant.
your mother's restaurant. Places like that, they've got those, they serve that kind of cuisine. But we need more Zambian people to go and eat that. Let it be reflected in Ghana. Hotel. I went to a hotel one time where I found they were serving cassava, sweet potatoes, a lot of diversity, and we have that in Zambia. So as consumers, let's start rethinking, about what we call food, what we know food as food. We have all the power if we mobilize ourselves, eat more of our local cuisine, support more of our culture, heritage, tradition, and I think we can manage to change the landscape of food. So we are the ones who have the power. We have our policy makers. They should, when they're framing policy, they should think about other systems, other alternatives. We shouldn't be locked up in a box where we just think just this system that way. No, there are other alternatives like the local food, traditional seeds, traditional food that we're talking about. That is a different alternative that can be supported. So for this campaign, actually, we are mobilizing at the continental level where we want the AU to support an African food policy that supports, culturally accepted and appropriate food, so that we'll be able to deal with issues that have to do with health, that have to do with nutrition in that policy. Right now, our food systems, which are not very diverse, are causing us so many problems. Malnutrition, I was telling you the last time that if you go to the cancer wards, you don't know what's causing cancer. It's the way we eat sometimes that's bringing up all these non-communicable diseases. So we need to start rethinking of what food is and what food looks like and what we want to call as food. And also thinking whether we want to live longer or we just want to live up and on.
Interesting. So tell me, lastly, as we conclude, tell the viewers how, aside from what you've shared with us, tell us how we can be involved with your organization and how we can get in touch with you.
So you can follow us on our Facebook page, Zambia Alliance for Agroecology and Biodiversity. We're there. You get more information there. You can also follow Community Technology Development Trust, CTDT. We're there. If you want to get in touch with me, I don't know whether it's a good idea to give my number, but
well, not your personal number, but the company number.
I'll give. I don't know if I have mastered it now,
oh, okay.
But you can send me an email at
right.
Juliet Nangamba at yahoo.com.
Wonderful. Well, Juliet, thank you so much. I think this is a very important topic, and it needs to be not only explored, but it needs to be expanded, and inculcated within the thoughts and minds of our young people, especially.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Mwewa.
Mwewa. There is no L in there, girl.
Mwewa. I won't forget. Maybe the last message for me to people that are watching who are online, to remember that our African food is more healthy, safe, and nutritious. Please know who is growing your food, know what they are putting in your food. We want to support our own indigenous seeds. So when we have our own indigenous seeds, we have our own rights, and we can control our own lives. We want to foster growth of very nutritious food, safe, and which is African food, obviously. And please remember that the future of food, I keep saying this, the future of food is very local. So don't forget about where you're coming from. This is where the world is going to. That is the projection.
The future of food is very local.
So support your local food.
Wonderful.
Buy healthy food, eat healthy diet, eat indigenous food. Our food is African. Our food is Zambian.
Thank you, Juliet.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.